I would like to quickly show how you can just copy and paste this program into any .c file and use that code on any operating system that you want to test your code. This is mainly to demonstrate that this code does not contain any operating system specific functionality. As I mentioned earlier in my first video, in my very first introduction video, you can copy this whole code into a C file and compile it using any other compiler that you want. You just have to ignore this first line #include stdafx.h because that is the only thing that is specific to Windows. I would like to demonstrate that to you by running this code using a GCC compiler on my cygwin environment. I have cygwin installed on my computer, as you can see here. So this is my cygwin shell. I go into this directory which I have created for copying some C code. I already have a sample code. This code contains the very first program that we wrote to print a random number. As you can see, this code exactly looks like the code that we used in the Visual Studio environment, except that the first line #include stdafx.h is not here. I will say gcc cfunda.c. It compiles and it created this a.exe here. I will run it and it printed the random number. Now let me copy our full program into a different C file and I will compile it in cygwin environment and see what happens. So I have saved this code in this file, our complete code. It is there in this file called cfunda.txt. Let me rename it as cfunda.c. It contains our original code. Let me compile it using GCC compiler, which I have installed in the cygwin environment. It gave a bunch of warnings and errors. Let us see what it says. It says struct num and string declared inside parameter list on line 13. It says something about the scope of this definition. Let us look at the file. Line 13. Okay, we have the struct num and string here, but we have the definition below it. That is why it is complaining. The Visual Studio environment did not complain, but in normal C practice, in normal C code, all the definitions should come before they are declared. So this is a valid warning here. We need to move this definition above these function declarations where they are used. Let me move them above here, above these function declarations. And now let me compile again. And see what happens. Okay, it compiled, it did not give any errors, and it created this exe, a.exe. Let us run and see what happens. Okay, it says it cannot open file 10 green bottles.txt, and it crashed. Some checks are missing in the code, some error checks are missing in the code. That is why it did a segmentation fault. But it gave us this message, cannot open file 10 green bottles.txt. So we have to copy that file from our original directory. So you see that in the cygwin directory it created these files. So it did create these random numbers here. All these numbers are present here. Let us go and copy 10 green bottles.txt from our original cfunda directory. I have this file, copy, and let me copy it in my cygwin directory. I have this file 10 green bottles.txt now. So let me try to run this code again. We got exactly the same output that we saw when we ran the code in the Visual Studio environment. We didn't make any change to the logic or any functionality in the code. We just ran the exact same code, except that it gave a warning here, but it's a valid warning because all definitions should precede before they are declared. You should also be able to do the same if you are trying to learn C programming on Linux or Mac or any environment which supports a valid traditional C compiler.